Okay, welcome folks back to the Car Boutiques Detailing channel. I'm Andy.
I'm Carl.
Okay, commonly known as the Chuckle Brothers, but that's not what TCB stands for. It stands for the Car Boutique, but it's a running joke, isn't it?
It seems to be.
Anyway, let's quash that. So, we all know that Zvizzer make polishing pads and compounded polishes and all that kind of stuff. But not so well known is the fact that they make waxes. Okay, so today's review is Zvizzer Graphene Wax. Okay, so we all know Zvizzer do compounds, polishes and machine polishing pads, and I've just transferred over to this system after using Rupes for about 8 years, getting on really, really well with that system. The thermo pad's really good at maintaining consistent cut, and we found, because we've done 2 or 3 cars, that the polishing compounds stay wet and give you lots of work time, no dust.
So obviously I'm new to machine polishing. I've only actually dealt with Zvizzer myself. But I really enjoy using the setup that they've produced.
It's really, really good, really, really good. So we decided to investigate whether Zvizzer's waxes were any good. Now, they've got 3 waxes out at the moment, sort of a natural wax, synthetic wax, and indeed the graphene wax. So we decided which one to use, and we had a trawl on YouTube and couldn't find anything, could we?
So yeah, it was about 10 minutes, 15 minutes trawling through YouTube. We couldn't find anything. That's not saying nothing's out there, but we couldn't find anything. So that put it to bed really, so we decided we were going to test this one.
Okay, so the car's ready for wax application, but with any wax, preparation is key. So you're having a look at the car before we actually started. Now, the state of my TT is a running joke within the Car Boutique Management team. It is absolutely disgusting, and it hadn't been washed for about 5 or 6 months. It was bad, wasn't it? He's got a photograph of it inside. You're not going to share that with anyone.
No, I'm not. However, I have been keen since we've been starting doing the videos together to get my hands and actually wash this car. So I feel a sense of cleansing personally that we have given this a clean.
But it's a running joke. The detailer's car's always the worst because they're doing everyone else's. So we've gone through the full process. We've obviously citrus pre-washed, snow foam, shampoo. We then used tar and glue, fallout remover. Gave it a really, really good dry down. It took a couple of hits of fallout, didn't it?
It did,
It was really quite bad. Then we taken it inside, dried it thoroughly, and like we do with all our wax testing, we've used a pre-wax cleaner, and that is a consistent part of our wax testing, and that will go on through 2024, where one of our main focuses is to really test as many waxes as we can. That's what we decided on for 2024.
Yeah, so we've had a bit of a discussion where we want to go next year. So one of those angles is obviously the wax end, and as well we're going to start looking more into the ceramics.
Definitely.
And that. So look out for us next year and hitting the waxes and ceramics.
Okay, so looking at the packaging, comes in a nice, I think it's glass or very, very hard plastic, 200 millilitres, and the appearance is what you're expecting. Okay, now a lot of these graphene waxes are sort of black. This one, I'd say that is a nice purple, and the smell,
it's chemical.
It's pure chemicals. Okay, so this isn't necessarily one that people are going to buy for the aesthetics of the packaging, the smell, the quality, the pour. I would suggest that if people are buying this, they're planning to use it, aren't they?
Yeah, it's for me, it's not a collector's wax.
No.
It's definitely an avid user's wax.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, made in Germany. We usually expect good things from German brands, don't we? You know, the German cars. I think that sort of philosophy carries over. We're expecting good things on this, aren't we? Because we both use the pads, polishes, compounds, love them. Yeah. We're really, really hoping that this is an extension of that sort of high standard of products in the market. But I suppose at the end of the day,
this will show.
This will show, so we're going to crack on and do some testing. Okay, so we're going to apply the wax now. Traditionally, what I've found with graphene waxes is they can be a bit grabby. They seem to be a bit drier, and that's in terms of application and removal. Now, the instructions for use for Zvizzer's graphene wax are apply panel by panel, but then leave for 30 or 40 minutes. So what I'm not going to do is do a panel, then wait for 30, 40 minutes, then remove it. So what we're going to do, myself and Karl, is we're going to apply it panel by panel, but then we're going to go around and do the rest of the car. Then after about 30 or 40 minutes, we're going to come back and do the removal. So in terms, although it's a graphene wax, and I've just said they're quite dry, this one is a really, really soft wax. It's not one of these hard graphene waxes, so you can see that I've just done that and taken quite a lot of product actually on the pad. In terms of application, this is what I call really, really nice and oily. This is effortless. So contrary to what I just said about my previous findings, this feels more akin to a sort of natural Knorber based wax. I'm using the lights like I always do. This is still the same sort of swipe of the wax. Nice and wet, nice and oily. Application is effortless. In fact, Karl, if you want to come in and have a look, you can sort of give a side commentary. You can see it's really, it's wet, isn't it? It's very greasy sounds like a bad word, but
when it comes
not
to
what
wax,
I'm trying to say here.
It's an oily consistency, which is what I was quite surprised when you took your swipe, how much came away.
Really, really soft. Probably shouldn't put this much on, but it's first contact.
Yeah, so I was quite surprised at how much you were able to take on that first swipe. Like you said, graphene waxes tend to be a lot drier, but that's proven us very wrong at the moment.
What I like about this one is sometimes we do tests and we do an uppy downy and a left and a circular one. I think this one, I actually like the sort of crosshatch on this one. It sort of works really well for me. Really, really chemically smell though. This is a functional wax. This is not a enjoyment in terms of getting a lovely smell and all that kind of stuff. So it's one of those workhorse waxes, I think. So I'm still going. I'm just going to see how long I can go with this one pad. Still going. Still going. Right, so top tip, when you first put your pad into the actual wax, the slightest swipe, okay? Because I went sort of in there expecting it to react like a normal Knorber-based wax, and it isn't. So you do not need much of this at all, and one swipe goes a long, long way. So I'm going to give Karl a go, just so he gets the user experience as well. In fact, we'll do that now. We'll video you do it, and you can have a talky bit. Once we're happy, we'll apply it to the whole of the car, and we're going to leave it for 30, 40 minutes, come back, and the removal, and then we've got some more testing, because this claims to do a lot of stuff in terms of chemical resistance and all that kind of stuff. So we'll do the hydrophobicity test, the chemical resistance check, and then see if there's any gloss enhancement. So, Karl, your turn.
All right, so Andy's handed me the wax now, so it's my turn to have a go. So, yeah, I'm going to concur with Andy on this. This is an incredibly soft wax. What we'll say is 5 degrees here when we're doing this test. I would say if you're working summer months with this, take that into account, how soft that is. So I'm going to go work this onto the other half of the bonnet now, and let's see where we are. Bloody hell. This
You see what I mean about it's greasy, and when I said greasy, I mean it's oily. It's so easy to apply for a graphene wax. Now, you haven't used one before.
No.
But they can be really grabby. This
is obviously going on what we've spoken about with regards to waxes. I was expecting a much tougher time with this, and I'm not. I've not put a lot on this pad.
That's still the first swipe in the pot.
That's still
as well,
the first swipe, and well, as you can all see, I'm still going on that first swipe. So, yeah, it's one you're going to have to be careful with, if I'm going to be honest, because it is that soft. You can end up taking so much onto your pad,
over-applying it, yeah.
And you're going to be over-applying. So just be aware of that if using this wax. But yeah, it's like butter to move around the car. It's unreal. Now I know Andy said he likes the crosshatch. I can't help it, but I end up always going in circular motions for me, and it's just really is very, very nice to use.
Smell, Karl?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a great fan of it, which is why I'm trying to keep it away from me.
There's no enjoyment factor in terms of user experience from the smell like you do at some waxes, but like we keep saying, I think this is a functional wax. So if we're happy, Karl, we'll apply it to the rest of the car and then come back in 40 minutes.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so we've left this about 30-40 minutes.
Yep.
And we're not going to kick the arse out of it. Let's see how easy it is to remove. So if you want to do your bit as well. I don't know about you, but that was easy enough.
I think in areas where you've slightly applied it, over applied it, it is the tiniest bit grabby.
Yep.
But it's coming off a treat in areas that we've been a bit more sparing with it.
So Karl raised a good tip there. Really, really easy to come off. So the pros are stacking up. Stupidly easy to apply. Really, really easy to remove. Thin, as with any wax, the thinnest possible layer. And Karl does raise the observation, if you have caked it on, it's a bit grabby, but it's not like some waxes whereby you're there all day.
No.
We over-applied it on the bonnet, and it's still really, really easy to remove. So really, really good. In terms of user experience, in terms of application removal, this is a quick wax to use. So we're going to remove it from the rest of the vehicle. Okay, so that's the wax on, wax off. I've been looking forward to saying that for ages. I've been watching the Karate Kid. So in terms of wax application, you saw us do it nice and easy. 10-15 minutes?
10-15 minutes, yep.
Removal time?
About the same.
About the same, two of us doing it, so super quick. Okay, so in terms of user experience, in terms of timings, really, really good. So we're going to take the car outside, and we're now going to do some testing. So we're going to do a hydrophobicity check now. Then looking at the label, we noticed that it does say it's chemically resistant. So how are we going to test that?
So our plan is to do something very, very similar to our Swiss wax test. So we worked on it a 3-month period of washing.
Yep.
So we're normally plan to wash every 2 weeks. So that will turn into 6 washes.
Yep.
With every second wash having some sort of chemical decontamination. So that's our plan. Six washes, 3 chemical decontaminations.
Absolutely, and then we'll do a hydrophobicity test after. So we're going to reposition the camera and look at the hydrophobics in terms of beading and sheeting now. Okay, so slight change of plan. Karl reminded me on the previous wax tests that we usually leave the wax for about 6 or 8 hours, or ideally overnight. Limited by time, but we've left this about 6 hours, just over 6 hours.
Yeah, around about that.
About 6 hours. So this allows the actual wax to do its thing. Now, the good thing is we've both had a good look. There's been no ghosting, so that's proven that we use the correct amount of wax. Clearly, if you do use too much wax, you might get ghosting and have to buff it off, but we're good on this one. Now, we've also had a chat, and we agree that we wouldn't say it's a filling effect, but it's enhanced the clarity. Almost, it's not flattening the paint, but it seems to, it's not the warm glow of a high content Knorboll wax, but it just seems to make even the white pop a bit. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's definitely made the white pop a bit, and I totally agree with you. There is really next to nothing in the filling aspect, but it's done a great job of the paint.
Yeah, definitely clearer, which is good. So, hydrophobicity test, the bit we all like. So, I might take some photographs as well, but let's go for the beading check first, Carl. So, we've got the light up there just to help us out because white isn't. Let's keep going. Keep going. And let's have a look there. So, that is what we like. Uniform beads, tight beads. Keep spraying so you can get them to get a bit bigger. And what we're finding here is, as you can see, that's good. Really, really nice. Thoughts on that, Carl? What you're seeing?
So, as you said, nice and uniform. Really high beads as well.
Yeah.
And they're only getting to sort of I would say, a slight large size, and then it is just rolling off the car.
Absolutely. Right, let's do the sort of runoff check then. So going left to right. Try and keep this in focus. And take it away. Carl's laughing. Carl, what happens is, Carl laughs when he's impressed with things, don't you?
But it's that, and as I'm pouring the water off, it's pouring onto Andy.
Oh, it's going on to me, is it? Right, okay. So just once more for the troops. It is going all over my foot. Right, I'm loving that. I'm really liking that. Okay, so that is just comes straight off. I really like that. We're getting a good angle here with the light of the actual sort of reflection. And then just let's go for one more beading check. So really, I'm going to take some photographs as well, which I might overlay on the video. Yeah, most of them are running off, but that's really, really nice. I'm happy with that. Really, really good. Okay, so one thing we are going to make an observation before we take it outside. We keep thinking of things after we've done a video. Is made a couple of observations. Now, that is sort of what you're looking at. Now, what we've found is this wax is very, very susceptible to heat differentials, and even at room temperature, when we got that out, there was a pooling of sort of purple liquid that we had to pour out now. I'm not sure if that's just the carrier or the wax is just sweating, but sort of a top tip, I'm sure you agree, Carl, this needs to really be in a chiller, kept at a constant temperature.
Absolutely, like we said when we applied it, okay, even in the temperatures that we're applying it is a very, very soft paste wax.
Yeah.
So I would say absolutely in a chiller, keeping the stability of that wax.
Stability, good word. Yeah, so like we said, really, really not a collector's wax, but so far a really high-performing wax, which is
definitely,
good.
Definitely.
Good stuff. Good times. Right, let's take it outside and expose it to some chemicals. Okay, so we've done the beading and sheeting on the paintwork. Really, really impressed with that, aren't we?
Very, very impressed.
Up there with the best of them. Now, if you look at the product description, it confesses to be good for chemical resistance, and that's why we're deliberately choosing these styles of waxes to test over the winter months when your car is subjected to a lot of stuff, and that includes contamination off the road and also the products you're using to clean your car. So, in the spirit of open and honesty, we're going to be using bilthamber, and there's a reason why we're laughing, bilthamber Surfix HD, bilthamber's Auto Foam. I can't say this. Carl, what are we using for shampoo?
We're using Auto Apothecary Revive.
Revive, excellent. Okay, and we're also using Corosol. So we're going to subject it to 6 washes, including 2 or 3 hits of Corosol as well. And then we're going to be looking at it, how it degrades, and then we're going to film the performance in terms of beading and sheeting afterwards. So we'll set up at Time Warp. We're going to be busy for about the next 10 minutes.
Yes.
Good times. Okay, so that's it, hit with 6 maintenance washes, including 3 with fallout remover. And we are really, really impressed. So, Karl, can you just give us a spray on the bonnet? We're using the GoPro this time. Hopefully it will show it up. And still doing really well. Now, slight degradation in the actual compactness of the beads, but if you go for another spray again, Karl. You know what, freezing at the moment, isn't it?
My hands are a little bit
We've
cold.
battled through the last few days to do this review. So you've got 2 of us, so we're going to both give our feedback. Hopefully you'll have extracted a lot out of the video in terms of the performance. So my analysis is I'm going to split into 3. Where does this fit in from a car wax collector, an enthusiast and a professional? So in terms of a car wax collector, my personal opinion is it's probably not going to suit you. Okay, there's not much in terms of pour, smell, user experience and all that kind of stuff. So if you're looking for a wax to enjoy taking off the shelf, having a sniff, probably not for you. In terms of an enthusiast, depends what you want from your waxes, in my opinion. If you're an enthusiast that is purely looking for product performance, love this. Okay, really, 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 really good. But if you're an enthusiast that enjoys the smell emanating, the user experience and all that kind of stuff, maybe not up your street. From a professional detailer's point of view, I think this is dynamite. It's up to you whether you feel £110, £140 is a price you're willing to pay. But in terms of performance, in terms of how easy it is to use, how easy it is to remove, the gloss enhancement, which you're going to see, definitely makes the paint pop even on white, and the hydrophobics and chemical resistance, which is where I think this is really, really winning, are outstanding. So if you want to potentially go from a Knorbo wax and upsell to a graphene wax that is quick, easy, effortless, but gives the client product performance on his car, I think this is absolutely outstanding. Really, personally, loved using this. And I'm surprised mainly with the chemical resistance of this. So once again, for a winter wax, personally, I think this is dynamite.
Right, so I'll go on the same 3. So yeah, wax collector. I don't think this is going to end up in your fridge.
Talk to the cameras. Is your opinion?
Yeah,
yep.
So I'm not going to say the pour. The pour was not great. It shrunk in the pot itself. Smell-wise, it's chemical, so it's not going to hit those markers that you want as a true wax collector enthusiast. Now, me personally, as a wax enthusiast that likes using wax on the car, I'm not going to say this is one I would use, because it's all about that intimate moment with your car, and this just doesn't give me that.
It's too easy, isn't it? Slap on, remove.
It's too easy. Plus, it's the enjoyment, the smell of putting on a nice smelling wax on your car. It's all that. However, professionally, this is where this one sits. Ease of application, ease of removal, the level of protection that you've seen now, for me, that's where it is. And it's a German-made wax, and this is, for me, stereotypical of what we expect from Germany. It is a very efficient, very good wax.
Good work, that, efficient. That's a brilliant word. Absolutely
so
brilliant.
that's my thoughts on it.
So I think we're pretty much in agreement, aren't we? Really enjoyed using this. Slightly different. Wouldn't call it a hard wax. I'd call it a paste jelly wax, really. Be careful when you're first using it. I over-applied it at the start. Just rest your pad in to get the smallest amount. But even then, when we overloaded it, it came off really, really quickly. So if you're a professional detailer and you're buying all your pads and polishes from Zvizzer, lob that on your order. You're not going to be disappointed. Enthusiasts, give it a go. Wax collectors, probably not. So I hope you enjoyed it. So we're going to continue with our theme on waxes, predominantly focusing on winter waxes, and then as we go through the year, we're going to look at dedicated waxes for different seasons. So from Andy and Karl, I think we're finished, aren't we?
We are.
Well, watch out for the next video. Take care.
See you later.